Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Jay. Listen, this Monday, June 8th, my brand new single, Hold On, featuring the legendary Monique Walker and my niece Brooklyn. It's going to be available for pre-order. Listen, this is a message for the nation. It's a message of healing, and I'm telling you, a message of hope. Get it from all digital platforms this Monday. Black Lives Matter.
Have these visions in my mind of a gift that's still inside. Can't believe my eyes. The moment has arrived.
I like the way I am. Though I've got a long way to go, I like the road that I'm on. Every day I'm learning more. I like the way I made. Not another one quite like me, no. After all is said and done, I'm happy with me. I like the way I am. Though I've got a long way to go, I like the road that I'm on. And every day I'm learning more.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight to Sanctity of Sisterhood. I am my sister's keeper. What about you? I am so excited on tonight for everybody that's going to be on. Just a few housekeeping rules. We need you to share this video. Share this video out. Get your comments and your questions. Place them up. Put them up. We're going to be reading them. We're going to really get into it tonight. No long, drawn out thing. Don't forget that we have t-shirts for sale. We have skirts for sale. Go and visit the lwccenter.org page to make your purchases. So on tonight, I hope you're ready. This is the night where the Sanctity of Sisterhood meets Raw and Uncut. Me and my bro, we are ready to talk about Take Me Out of the Box. Is it possible for male and female to have healthy relationships without the extra stuff? So tonight, joining me is my brother, Dre Rumble. I really can't with him tonight, y'all. Dre, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I got you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
We here.
we're here. I cannot with him one tonight, y'all. But we wanted to get into it and discuss. It's like a big elephant in the room in a lot of places, where people feel like, male and female can't have healthy relationships. Good evening, Matthew. Thank you for joining us tonight. And, for a long time, if you go to church or in church, a lot of, churches don't want to touch that subject. They don't want to talk about, male to female relationships because they say it's a lot of messy things that goes on. But tonight we want to talk about it. We want to take your private conversations and make them public so that we can get an understanding. It's time for conversations, right, bro? When you go to the psychiatrist, you're not quiet. You're not silent. When you go to the psychiatrist, you're not on your knees praying. You got to talk.
Facts. Yes. Lay on the couch. We're going to be your therapist tonight. We got y'all.
Listen, we're ready. So I posed a question earlier today.
Yes, you did. Jesus.
And I'm coming right out the box because we don't have time to play games, right?
Let's
so
do
I posed a question on my page today. And I said, there's a big thing going on with bro and sis. We call each other bro and sis. We use that term so loosely. And so what's happening is that the term bro and sis, people are saying that, but how you feel about that, bro?
Wait, I didn't hear the last part.
I said people are calling each other bro and sis in public, but secretly crossing the lines.
Wow. They doing that?
Come on, don't play with me.
Jesus. All right, so I don't want to play the blame game. But I feel like when it comes to situations like that, and I don't want to sound churchy, but a lot of times because of certain connections we make with people, we put people who are supposed to be temporary and we make them last longer than they're supposed to. So because me and this person have this in common, and let's be honest, in the church world, most bro and sis relationships come from having common enemies. So it's like, yo, I don't like this person, you don't like this person. Oh, let's be friends. Let's be
Exactly.
another dynamic is, and it's probably gonna get crazy, but it's Raw and Uncut meets Sanctity of Sisterhood.
Let's go.
Most women need to really pay attention to their friends. If your friend is miserable and your relationship is dope, you have to stop sharing intimate things about your relationship with your miserable friend. What are you saying? I'm glad you asked. Stop telling your miserable friend how good your man is in bed. Because guess what? With her being miserable, in the back of her, and the thing is, what happens is, so you tell her how awesome he is, but then because of what you deem as a friendship, you also complain about his faults.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, he pays the bills, he takes care of me, but then they have them moments where he gets on your nerve and you're venting about what he's doing. But at the same time, your friend is remembering that, but you just told me how he put it on you the other night. They're plotting and scheming. Why? Because misery loves company. So we have to really decipher and digest what role and what information should be shared in those relationships, so those lines won't be crossed. Also, you got to stop making people feel comfortable enough to cross those lines. It's a comfortability factor. So if someone feels comfortable enough to do it and you don't say nothing. So if it's a crew of y'all and you're only going to the other crew about what the person is doing instead of addressing the person is going to keep doing it. Yeah, y'all see the way she be looking at my man? Yeah, or you see the way he be looking at my wife?
All right, so I'm gonna come back to that, but we have a question. Is there a difference between a friend versus bro or sis?
Yeah. I have a lot of friends. I have people who I can hang out with. I have people who I can do certain things with. But then I have people. To me, the bro and sis thing is, when I show you my flaws, you don't expose them. So what does that mean? Okay, Raw and Uncut. I think you know me better than anybody because of you've seen my flaws. But it doesn't change your mind about how anointed I am.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas you can't do that with everybody. Everybody can't see that other Dre. Everybody can't witness that other Dre or Drew, whoever you want to call me. Everybody can't see that. So friends, bro and sis, that's a whole different dynamic.
Absolutely. I saw someone, I think it was Ruthie, I think her name was, she said something she said, this is why everyone is not a safe space. And you're absolutely right. We as women, we are emotional beings. We love from a different type of place. We're very much different from men because we do share a lot with our sister girls. We do share with people that we deem, you know, to be our friends, whether it's 10 years, 5 years, people that we feel connected to, like you said, that we could share with or whatever. But we have to be careful. We as women have to, and we always say, you know, woman know woman, and that's true. But I feel like sometimes we're very emotional women. We're ready to just vent and tell it all to certain people who are not safe spaces. Let's be honest. We know as women who what spaces people are in our lives. Fanta says sometimes we open ourselves to too many bros and sis. You're absolutely right, because we want to be connected. People like to feel connected. They like to feel like they're a part of. We like to feel like we're a part of something.
We're
relational.
We're
Yeah,
relational.
absolutely. Yeah. But what happens when, you know, we, like you said, we're sharing, and that goes for both ways, because I feel like as men, you guys should understand that there is a boundary that should not be crossed with your friend, your female friends. Like, you as well shouldn't be discussing your relationship with another woman, because then that allows the other woman to feel like they have a one up on the person that you're dating or married to.
I agree with that.
And so, go ahead.
I know. I'm saying I agree. I agree. You ain't gonna hit. I'm not. I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely. Bishop Harvey says, "Why in church we have to be friends? We are already bro and sis in Christ. Why do we have to categorize our relationship?"
We have to categorize it because, let's be honest, just because I worship with you don't mean I could trust you. Just because I praise with you don't mean I could trust you. So you have to you have to categorize. Now, is that right? No, because the church should be a safe space. The church should be, we should come with that mentality, but let's be honest, most people don't come for that. They come for tea. They come for, so therefore you cannot trust everybody with your deepest, darkest secret. Yes, we go to the same church, but it's a sad thing, but you have to know who's who. And let's be honest, being brothers and sisters in Christ has nothing to do with being brothers and sisters in real life. I love you with the love of Christ.
What is that? I love you with the love of Christ.
That means if I didn't
Is that shade?
Yes, very much so. If I didn't have Christ, I wouldn't like you. Yes. And there's a lot of people I feel that way about. If it wasn't for the Jesus on the inside of me, then I don't know how to love you. And you have to, we have to stop putting this expectation, because this is very weird how we categorize people and we expect people to be a certain way. But let's be, if we all take the mask off, we've all played Judas.
You're absolutely right. Come on, talk about it.
Played Judas. We've all sat there and pretended we was a friend to somebody and shared information that we should not have shared. We all took advantage of somebody who was vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, that's when you really have to seek God, because when you're vulnerable, you're liable to say anything to anybody. And when you go back in your right mind, you ask yourself, why did I talk to that person? Why did I trust that person? Ask me how I know. And here's the thing. I see what Bougie just said.
Yes, because yeah.
Let's be honest. There are things that my wife cannot share with me that she shares with you. We gotta be honest about that.
Right. Come on. You're right.
Yes, your wife, your spouse, your husband is supposed to be your best friend, but you cannot go to them for everything. Why? Because if my wife comes to me with a certain thing, or I come to her with a certain thing, I already know there's a good chance I might respond emotionally, which would make my spouse not want to talk to me anymore or feel uncomfortable talking to me. So a lot of times you do need an outside source before you entrust your spouse with this information. You should be able to find a friend or a confidant where you say, yo, I have to tell them such and such. I
Right.
don't know how to say this to them.
But sometimes what's happening is, yeah, you want to find a confidant, you want to talk to people, but come on, be honest. Like you said, there were times that you said stuff to people that you should not have said, and I'm talking about females. We've got to be careful about venting and going to the opposite sex about our relationships, because like I said, and I think Bougie put it, like that causes a discord, right, in relationship, because now your best friend as a female could end up being have an issue with the person that you're in a relationship just because you shared something, and that person may not be mature enough to see the difference.
And okay, so here's the thing, and this is why so my wife has a best friend who's male. I believe it's two of them. She has two male best friends. One she calls her brother, the other one she just calls her best friend. I have two female best friends outside of my wife. I feel like relationships with the opposite sex have to be tested and tried. In other words, in order for you of the opposite sex to get to the point where we're best friends or whatever, it has to, you have to have a great track record. I'm convinced that you can't have an ex that it didn't work out, and that's your best friend.
But a lot of people feel like that. So do you agree that you can be friends with an ex?
No, friends have. What kind of friends?
Friends, meaning if you and somebody had sex before, now you're talking about y'all friends. Meaning they could hit you up, text you for anything.
Wait. So, all right. So, are we talking relationships or are we talking one night stands?
Either or.
So, one night stands. If you're talking one night stands, I think it's possible, because one night stands could just be a drunken moment or a high moment. You know what I'm saying? It could just that's what it is. If you're talking about, like, we were in a serious relationships, I love you, we love you. No. No way. Unless there's kids involved. There's so many comments. Go back to Fanta's question, because Fanta been wanting to ask this question for 2 weeks. Let's go back to Fanta's.
She said, how many real sisters do you have that you can confide in?
I'm blessed. I have a lot. And I tell people that all the time. I have a lot of people that genuinely care about me. Now, what do I tell them? That's what scales the relationships. That's what be the change you want to see. That's for real. Let's stop saying you can't trust others. Here's the real question. Who can trust? This is what I'm saying. We've all played the role of Judas. So now, and I think with that being said, that's where we have to come into, all right. And I feel like us being Judas before, you should be able to differentiate what kind of friendships, you should be able to evaluate what kind of friendships you have.
Right, because we got to move past, like you said, pointing fingers at people and placing blame, because, things happen, right? And so if we're honest about things happening and, everybody falls short and nobody's perfect. And so as we're going and we're walking out life, we've got to understand that relationships, like I think you said before, come with tests and trials. And
you
it's
gotta.
all about how. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I was agreeing with you. Yeah, you gotta. You have to be. You have to be proven. Like my best friend. Like I tell people, my best friend was there for me when I was at my lowest. You know what I'm saying? And I tell a lot of people, she is part of the reason, one of the reasons why Dre Rumble is who he is in ministry. Because when I wanted to kill myself, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, she put herself in the cab to come get me where I was at and was like, let's go. Those are the kind of
And
friendships.
right. And
And
that's
if I
true
didn't tell that
friendship.
story, nobody would have never knew.
And that's real friendship. And that's what I'm saying. It's possible. Like people, I hear a lot of people say it's impossible for men and women to be friends. Verna says sometimes being betrayed is a part of God's plan. I think sometimes people who are naive concerning who should be around are people who are afraid of rejection.
Yes and no. I don't think it's more so the rejection part. I think it's more so the needy part.
Hey, Cheyenne.
Hey Cheyenne. I think it's the needy part. I think sometimes we ignore certain signs because we feel like we need people around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, no. Cheyenne watches too much Lifetime movies.
Hold it, because I
Oh
watch
Lord,
Lifetime.
Raven
It's
is
good
here.
for you.
Lady
Praise the Lord,
Raven is.
Raven. Praise the
Oh
Lord.
God.
Anywho,
Jesus.
you know, I rejection does play a major role because
Hold on.
sometimes.
I'm reading what Cheyenne
Sorry,
says.
bro, not feeling what you're saying. Sounds like excuses.
I need her to explain that. What sounds like an excuse? I'm confused. Where do we draw the line between church brothers and sisters or a true brother as Jonathan was to David? That's discernment. That's what I'm saying. Like you have to like my pastor, Kareem Daniels, we was having this conversation and he told me how he chooses his friends. And he said what he said was he gives them a little bit of information. So let's just say I'm talking to Dwayne and I tell Dwayne me and Chantel got into an argument. I didn't tell him the nature of the argument. I didn't tell him what was said in the argument. I said we got into an argument. All right. Let's see what he does with that little bit of information. The problem is we hang out with people and we go to Lindenwood with people. And what happens is because we hung out that one time and we had a good we had a good time, all of a sudden we followed each other on Instagram and Facebook. Nah. I said you can't be friends with exes. I said that. One night stands can be a sober moment. But I want to go back to Cheyenne because this sounds like it's
your wife is supposed to be your best friend.
Supposed to. I didn't say she's not. That's not what I said. Maybe she came on late.
He said that he believes that your wife should be your best friend. Do they care for your wife the same?
Yes.
Listen, facts, and we love Chantel. You're absolutely right. And we're not talking about Dre and Chantel per se. So let's not, go there. We're talking about, relationships in general. Right. But we're using personal experience. Can you friend someone who doesn't like your wife? That's for you, Dre.
I have, and it wasn't good.
And why wasn't it good?
I don't know why. Because Charmaine, you gotta let these people know. Y'all can ask me whatever. I'm not gonna lie on here.
Because you know what? I've experienced, like, Dwayne and I've been married for 10 years. And women, 10 going on 11. And there are some of his female friends that have looked me in my face and spoke to him and ignored me. There are some of his exes that have seen me, looked me in my face, spoke to him, and ignored me. And, you know, for us as women, I feel like, you know, men have to, you guys as the male, the husbands, or if you're there just in a relationship, that's the standard for you as the men to set.
So,
like,
so let me ask you this.
It's your responsibility to check.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that, because here's probably where I'm going, where the sisterhood is going to abandon me and want to stone me and lynch me. Women are so hypocritical when it comes to this conversation.
Come on, let's go. What you talking?
Women are very hypocritical.
Come on, ladies, let's go. Put these questions up.
When it comes to this conversation, and here's why. Here's why I say that. Here's why I say that. Women always have an excuse for why their male friend does what he does. So let's just hypothetically say the male friend doesn't like the husband. The woman would find every excuse to maintain that friendship. And see, thank you. I knew it, Kim. I knew this was gonna sting y'all. Women
no, it's not a sting. Because
no. A man is supposed to cut this woman off, or the man is supposed to check this. The woman will find mad reasons to not address that situation. Ask me how I know.
Hey, Courtney. Hey, listen, I disagree with that, because, come on, Raven, I disagree with that, because there have been times when, you know, when you say something to a male. Oh, wait, let me go back. Let me address this.
Yeah. Go ahead. Get it right.
Let me get it right.
Get it together.
Because you said that we have a problem with disconnecting. No, I absolutely disagree with that. Because we as women, and a lot of my sisters are on here, we don't have a problem with telling our male friends, listen, if you don't respect my husband, then we can't be friends. But you guys as men, you have a difficult time telling the females, listen, that's my wife or that's my girlfriend. You're not going to disrespect them. When you see them, you should speak to them the same way that, you know, the same way that you want to speak, that you speak to me, you got to respect the person I'm with. And it shows in the female response and reaction to your wife or your girlfriend if they're in a relationship. Because
all right, so let me ask you this. So why is that important? Because we as men, we don't care.
But that's the part, because a lot of times
we don't care.
Men, of course,
my thing is, as long as homie don't get out of pocket,
what concerns us as women that we feel is disrespectful.
Why do y'all care? No, that's a serious question. I'm genuinely asking. It's not for me to respond. I really want to know, because as a man, I don't care. My thing is, as long as homeboy don't get out of pocket, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys that Chantel knows that I'm probably not gonna like, or I'm probably not gonna. I don't care though. As long as homeboy stay in line and he don't get crazy, I'm cool with it. Go ahead, do your thing.
Right, but a lot of times you as men are not disrespectful. Females are different.
I agree with that.
And I
Y'all
feel
are
like
very catty. I agree with that.
You guys as men, if they're your friend, you shouldn't have a problem checking them. Alicia Keir says some are worried about opposite sex relationships. There's same I think she means same sex relationships that need to be watched as well. Clutch my pearls.
But no. What?
I saw some other
I didn't see that. Ooh.
Yes. So because at the end of the day, like I said, you know, men, you got to understand that what may not be important to you may be very well important to us as a female. That goes into being sensitive to your partner's feelings. So if you have a friend that you know is being catty toward, you know, your girlfriend or your spouse, and don't mean you in general, I'm talking about men, and it's not addressed, and we as the significant other say something to you about it, I feel like you guys as men should check them, because they're only going to do what you allow them to do. Because let's be honest, some women are outright disrespectful. As Fanta said, Shamel says the ex is clearly upset she didn't make the cut. They don't matter.
Agreed.
Right. Bougie Mark says, no, if they don't like your spouse who represent you, how can they really like you? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that, because you got, like, not everybody is gonna. I'm not asking everybody to like me, but you gonna respect me. You won't. Ooh, you men slept with most of your lady friends. Cheyenne, have you interviewed every man in the world to say that? That's a very big assumption to make.
Men carry themselves way different than a female friend.
That's another assumption to make.
I honestly feel like, you know, that's why I titled it "Take Me Out of the Box," because we got to be careful. If Monique said, "You don't like him, you don't like me," he can't still be the homie if he don't like my husband. See, that's what I'm talking about. As a woman, this is how we deem things. If you grace and peace, brother Terrell, if you don't like my husband or the person that I'm with, then I can't rock with you. I'm sorry. And I don't have a problem as a woman, as a wife, saying that. If you disrespect my husband, hands down, we not friends. I will cut them off. That is me. That is because I am not going to allow anybody to feel like it's okay to disrespect my husband. As Fanta said, as do men at times. I'm helping her. I'm a preacher. I'm involved in the community. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Because these are the things sometimes that people say. And I've gotten a lot of inboxes over the past few hours, and I'm just speaking. I'm just throwing things out there, and I'm just trying to get the conversation started. That, you know, all men are not the same, so we can't box and group everybody in and say that all men.
We got y'all got
with
to
all
and that's
women.
the thing. Women like, and it's not just women. We have to stop putting things in generalities. This is what I'm saying. So when I say when the statement was made about respect,
Dre, hold that thought. Samantha Graham says, okay, I agree with Dre. I have made excuses for what or how my male friends meant it. That's honest, sis. That's honest. That's honest.
Like it, and we have to. We
no,
really
sis,
have to
Dre
stop.
Get you.
Yeah, because people got to stop and the thing is, we really have to start thinking some things outside of the box. Like, let's be honest. And this is a conversation that happens constantly. Stop saying you men, Cheyenne. Stop. That's not good. You can't do that. We live in, or most men like myself work in industries where it is homosexually and female dominated.
Okay.
As a rapper, when you go in the music industry, the majority of people you see in front offices are going to be women.
Okay.
Even as a community leader, the majority, and this is not something I'm guessing. Look at the Trump administration. Look at the Obama administration. The majority of people that was behind the scenes was female. So when you, it's not an excuse. This is facts. So when you're on the outside looking in, if you're not in that industry or you're not taking you're not taking interest in that industry, of course it's gonna look at it like, oh, he's always around a bunch of females. As a musician, as an actor, as a rapper, who buys records? Women.
Dre Rumble, you don't think like a married man.
I totally disagree with that because you're generalizing. And I'm not gonna agree with your generalization. Because I'm not saying that people should not be put in their place. That's not what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times it sounds like Cheyenne has lived through this or something like that. A lot, and that's what thank you, Ronald. Every situation doesn't apply to every marriage. Every situation does not apply to every man and every woman. What I'm talking about for me, I'm not talking about for every man. As for me and my house,
come on.
I'm not saying that if my wife feels disrespected by certain females, that's a conversation me and her gonna have. But I'm talking about for me. I'm just not the type of person that just if he don't violate, I'm not asking you to cut him off. Why? Because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody gonna like me. Not all her. So here's the thing. If family members don't like me, should I tell her to cut off her family members?
I don't agree with you telling her to cut off her family members.
This is what I'm saying. My thing is, I'm a move accordingly. As long as nobody gets disrespectful, but at the same. Go ahead. No. What you were saying?
What I feel like what a lot of the women are saying is that women that you guys as men sometimes don't see what we as women see, and because we as women, we know the different moves that we make. Sometimes, if you'll be honest tonight to say there were certain situations or certain relationships that you had with friends that you just didn't see coming, like you were oblivious to.
Yo, let me explain. There were conversations, uncomfortable conversations that I had to have with my wife concerning friends. Very much so. Very much so. And Cheyenne, that's not true. So I'm the type of person where I don't believe that every female that smiles in my face is attracted to me.
Raven, I suggest you start telling their pastors. I agree 100%.
What was she saying that to? I was confused.
She's saying that to Raven. I'll let you speak for yourself. What are you saying?
Yeah, what was she referring to when she?
What are you referring to?
Because
Chantel says because they don't care for the spouse. The agenda is to get with the partner. And some instances, you're very much right.
No. So I'm very open. I'm very open and honest. There were situations that I assumed that she was just being jealous.
Who, your wife or the person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just thought she was being jealous. And the thing is, a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. And it's not an excuse. This is factual. Because I don't think every woman wants me. So yeah,
okay.
as a spouse, there might be something that she sees that I don't see. There's plenty of times where I had to have uncomfortable conversations and see, you know what I'm saying, her point of view. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time, you spend if you around a bunch of females, and plus the church, the kind of church I was in, stuff like that, we ignored stuff like that. So,
Alicia, go ahead. So
a solid spouse was no, and that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that she doesn't respect me. If somebody violated, trust and believe she's gonna deal with it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, Cheyenne, I'm sorry to hear that. You need to heal, Sugarfoot. What I'm saying, yes, I just said that, babe. I just said that. So what I'm saying is that there comes times where you just got to look at your own house. You got to look at your own relationship. People need to stop boxing in every relationship, because the way I handle things, Dwayne may not handle things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And you're absolutely right, because like you said, each household is different. Every relationship is different. And like you said, so sometimes men, they really, like you said, you believe that sometimes, you didn't believe like that person meant any harm. You just thinking they being a friend. You just thinking, hey, we're cool, we talk, we bug out or whatever. Ron says there's a respectful way of interacting with women. You're absolutely right. But a lot of times, I think Shamel said, we run the world. We as women too, and I want to touch back with that, because we as women, we've got to be careful how we interact with other people's spouses and boyfriends and things like that, because hold on, Cheyenne said, so don't diagnose me, just saying you sound like you don't care.
No, that's not that's not what I'm saying, because what you're doing is you're generalizing. What you can't put what happened with you, or maybe what you saw or what you heard, you can't put that with everybody. Like I said, every house is different. You and your friend have to have the understanding there's a limit when yeah, that's a fact. You have to. I definitely agree with that.
Exactly. And too many sons.
Thank you, mother.
There are too many people who are okay. I think Shamel said it earlier, don't have a conscience. So we've got to be conscious of what we do, how we say it, the relationships and the friends that we're bringing into these relationships. Ronald says she's right. I can agree to that. Some things just pop up, but you have to know how to handle them as a man.
Right. Yes, that was the next point I was about to make, Lady Kiss.
Go ahead, talk about it.
Because the thing is, number one, what and this is not just for women, and this is not just for men. You have to trust your spouse enough, because at the end of the day, business is business and personal is personal. Let's just say my wife was doing her makeup thing or YouTube thing or a picture thing, and somebody got out of pocket. If it's bringing her income, if it's a situation that she feels like she can control, I have to trust her enough to say that she can control it before I intervene. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of times what we don't understand is, and this is going to hurt some people. There are some spouses who cheat.
Okay.
There are. Sometimes women or men box these people and say, you know what? I know a lot of married people that's cheating. Let me just see if they're one of them. Sometimes they just want to see. Sometimes they just want to they just want to try. You have to trust your spouse enough to say, yo, put that in check before I intervene. Put that in check before I have to step in.
Raven says most of us are church people. We have to really start holding people accountable for their messy actions. Put them on the altar. Take it to the leader. A real leader will shut it down and not sweep it under the rug. So that's what I was saying. A lot of times when people are dealing with situations like that in the church, and I know exactly what Raven is saying when she's saying that, we've got to not be afraid as women to go to these leaders and speak up and say something. And a lot of relationships fail, or women feel like they can get over because nobody's saying anything. Everything is a secret. And sometimes,
well, why does it, and this is the issue, because the thing with men is, just because we don't speak up don't mean it don't happen to us. So everything is always put in a sense of as if men are the only predators.
I don't think so. You are so aggressive.
No, I'm passionate. Like, you don't know me. Can you stop commenting? Go ahead.
It's okay. That's what we want. She's expressing her feelings. Let's keep it real. We know our ratchet friends, male or female. We know our friends who are messy. Why keep that so close?
That's what I was saying.
And right, because we know, like you said, Alicia, we know. And so in that aspect, we got to stop acting like we don't. Chantal says where the issue comes in is there's a line, and men or women will approach the line slowly, and then it gets stepped on. Once the line is stepped on, they watch your reaction to it. If your reaction even looks like proceed, the line will be crossed. You are right, sis.
Agreed.
And at what point do we stop it? Because a lot of times the line is getting crossed, crushed, and over, and things are happening. And then once it gets out in the open and it's all exposed, then what? It's a trust issue, or are you protecting what's yours? Temptation is real.
No, that's not what that's not what I'm saying. But the thing is, sometimes we have to learn when to protect. Like, how can you know what your spouse is capable of if you don't allow them to? You know what I'm saying? If you don't put it out there for them, if you don't put it out there or to see. All right, let me see how far this is going to go. Because let's be honest, you're not around your spouse all the time.
Chantal said, what if the leader is just as bad as them? Who do you turn to?
Go to a counselor.
You know, there are times when, you know, it's okay to seek outside help. You're not always, and I know
they don't have to always be church.
I know that a lot of people, you want to go to your leaders, you want to go to your pastors, and that's wonderful. But there are some times where you've got to go seek an outside person. Yes, you can go to they have many of Christian counselors, and it doesn't have to be your pastor, because like you said, some pastors that you know could have been in the very same thing. Bougie Mark says, I believe a lot of relationships fail because you bring it into the church.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree with that?
Because I don't think where you bring it is the issue. I think it's more so who you bring it to that's the issue. I don't because there are some church leaders who are dope advisors. Because I don't want to knock the church, like,
right.
I just think
you know
have to find
right, and we've got to it's hard, like you said, it's hard to find, and it's hard to find, and we've got to be careful when we talk about leaders, right? Because, you know, people are human and people experience things. Leaders go through stuff. They're human. If they never go through things, then how are they going to be able to talk to us? So yes, you know, some leaders have experienced this. Some leaders have found themselves in these positions, right? And so we've got to be honest and say, yes, my leader went through this.
Yes, no, I don't want everyone to agree with me, Miss Cheyenne. I don't want everybody to agree. Trust me. I could debate all day. I do this for fun. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Mano.
No, I'm saying, yes, you know, some of our leaders have been in stuff, but because of their experience, I believe that they are able to help their sons and daughters because of what they went through. But that doesn't mean that when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it, that we have to go to them for everything. Seek an outside person. If you are not comfortable with going to your leader, it is okay to go to a counselor. Elise Smith says, no, I don't think relationships fail because they are brought into the church. I think they fail because we reach out to the wrong people, giving the wrong advice.
This is what I'm saying.
Right. You're absolutely right. Because we expect immature people to be mature in situations that we feel like they should be. And not everybody is mature in every aspect. We've got to be understanding. We've got to stop putting people in boxes. We're boxing people in and feeling like they automatically should be mature in a situation. No, if we're honest, people have to work through a lot of issues and things and childhood things, and it takes a long time to become mature.
Right. Wait, go back to what Tanisha, I don't want to say her name wrong.
Why put your spouse through a test? Doesn't make sense to me. If you don't trust your spouse, why be in that relationship?
Who said something about putting their spouse through a test?
No, you said that sometimes women want to just test the person to see if
no.
Right.
What I was saying was sometimes women don't always have to interject when they see that a man is being pursued. I'm saying wait to see if your man gonna shut it down before you feel like you have to come in and you get what I'm saying? That's like if you see a woman flirting with Dwayne, and before Dwayne could even say anything, you just come in and feel like you gotta say something. What I'm saying is sometimes you must allow your spouse to shut it down before you even interject. That's what I was saying. I wasn't saying a test. I was just saying allow your spouse to check it before you feel like you have to.
But what would you say to, all right, I hear what you're saying, but what happens when you've allowed it, but then it didn't get checked and now it's happening again?
Oh, then you definitely should. I wouldn't feel like you have to say anything then either. You need to have that conversation with your spouse.
Right. Because we as women, we've got to stop wanting to just go off on the other woman. I think someone said it earlier. You've got to go, I think Kia said it, you've got to go to your spouse or to your boyfriend, whoever you're in that relationship, and vice versa. If it's a male and you feel like the guy is crossing the line and he's saying something that he shouldn't say, we've got to be able, like you said, to trust our spouse, trust the person that we're in a relationship with, to go to them and say, listen, this is I see X, Y, and Z. But then from a male's perspective, you as a man sometimes got to understand that if we're coming to you as our husbands because we see something, you've got to be open to hear us and not just automatically feel like we're coming from an insecure place.
All right, so let me ask you this. That's a very great point, by the way. I agree with you 75%. 75% I agree with you.
All right.
What if it's not what you think it is though? Let's just say me responding based off of your
Alicia,
advice.
I may trust my spouse, but I don't trust that chick.
And that's no, that's fine. That's fine. That's cool. That's
right, because some women got track records.
Right. I agree with that 100%. But what if, let's say we listen and you just messed up $100 million contract because I went off of what you told me, as opposed to just taking your advice, storing it in my memory bank, and allowing it and waiting to see what happens with the situation. Let's just say you want me to respond automatically, like, yo, you need to check that chick. Like, say something right now. And just so I can have a happy wife, happy life, I do that. And the woman didn't even mean it like that. Maybe that's just her personality, where it comes off where she's just naturally flirtatious. And I just messed up a business opportunity because I went off of what you told me.
Say that part again. Hear your spouse. Too often they are dismissed because the insecurity word is thrown around. But if you know your man, you don't have to worry about no woman, vice versa. If I know my woman, I shouldn't have to worry about a man. Trust is the key. I hear what you're saying. Yes, trust is the key.
No. Go back to my question, Mano. You're avoiding my question.
No. I'm coming to you, and she might be the plug. All right. So you're saying, what if we want you to say something?
What if you read the body language wrong?
But how do you read body language wrong? Because if a woman is flirting with you, and that's
the thing. Flirting may not necessarily mean she's trying to holler. Maybe it's just her way of trying to close a business deal. Maybe that is just how she converses. There are some women, and I don't want nobody to take this the wrong way. There are some women whose nature comes off as naturally sexy. So it looks as if they're flirting, but it's not. They don't even have an inkling of an interest in you. They just have an interest of how much money you can make them. I'm not saying he's entertaining. What I'm saying it's a conversation just about business. You're right there in the room.
Right.
But then your spidey sense goes off.
Spidey sense.
And you're reading the body language wrong, which can happen. You're reading the body language wrong. And I listen to you. I listen.
I don't agree.
And I mess up a deal.
No, first of all, I feel like as the spouse or the wife, like trust is a big thing, right? So Dwayne does a lot of business stuff, right? And so I would never, and this is just me, I would never tell him don't cut the deal or whatever. Now, as his wife, if I see something, I will say something to him and trust that he's gonna handle it. But we as women, we've got to understand that, Shamel, you're absolutely right.
Please keep that comment up. Don't take that down because I want to address that.
We as women, we've got to understand that everything that is lawful isn't expedient. And so although you may have every right, the feeling, we may be right in what we see and what we feel, but that doesn't mean that in that very moment it's okay to speak up. Some things we've got to learn as women, as a spouse, to take it to God in prayer. And we've got to pray about it and pray for our husbands and our spouses that the temptation is real and women are out there and things are happening, but we've got to trust the God in them and the God that we serve, that we say we pray to, that he will make it all right. And I think Bishop Butler said, God will reveal. Put your trust in God. If something is not right, he will reveal it. You are absolutely right. But when God reveals it, you guys as men got to own up to it.
What if it's not God? Because it's not. We're not going to use God. That's what we're not going to. We are not going to do that. So you're trying to say that God that God doesn't reveal? That's not what I said. Doesn't reveal? That's not what I said. I believe God reveals.
So what are you saying then?
What I'm saying is, what if in that moment, because what we do is we use our insecurities and we say the Holy Ghost told us. No.
But that does. See, you men sometimes think that women
Why is it a men and women thing? I'm talking about spouses in general.
Right. So spouses, right, male or female. But I'm talking about men. Sometimes, Raven. Sometimes, you as men throw out this insecurity word, right? Because a female can say to you, listen, X, Y, and Z.
Thank you,
X,
Shamel.
Y, and Z.
That's why you my nigga, Shamel. Thank you.
Listen.
Wait, no. And that's the thing, because from experience, why is it that when I'm approached the way a woman may have addressed me, women now, if you address a woman, it's not. That's just Joseph. He been doing that since we was 14 years old. He don't mean nothing. He can't even play with his right hand. Like, I don't like no organist that can't use both.
What?
Like, I'm just saying, when we approach y'all, it gets played off. It gets. But I wanna address what Shamel said. Can
you put Shamel's comment back up?
Yeah, I want to address what Shamel said real quick. I told you the show was gonna be crazy.
Shamel said, "I'll leave this for the ladies. If he is entertaining people, make sure it's not because you haven't taken the time to entertain him."
Now take that comment off, because I need to see my sister's face. Let me ask you this. We're talking about friendships of the opposite sex. And of course, one of which I already knew was going to happen. One of the first 5 comments that showed up on the screen was Bougie saying your spouse should be your best friend. So Lady Charmaine Lodho, is there a line to where husband and wife friendships end? Or should we be able to discuss and talk about any and everything? And I want you to be realistic. Okay, go ahead.
I honestly feel like being friends is paramount in any relationship. So you've got to develop a friendship with your spouse, and that will lead to becoming best friends, right? But I don't believe that your spouse has to solely be your only
No, that's
friend.
not what I mean. I'm talking about as far as communication.
Yes, I do feel like you should be able to tell your spouse any and everything, and it be okay. So that's when maturity comes in, right?
So anything. We talking about anything.
Right. So let me finish my point, right? So because we being real, right?
Right. I just want to know.
There was a time when Dwayne and I were not communicating, right? And I felt like, his relationship with his female friends, whatever, if he talked to them, I felt like there were things that he shared that he didn't share with me. And I automatically would get upset. But I had to understand that I wasn't always the wife, Raven. I wasn't always the wife that made him comfortable enough to be able to feel like he could have any kind of conversation with me. We as women have to make ourselves be open for any kind of conversation with our spouses, so then they can be able to share with us those deep things that they feel like they cannot. There are a lot of men that feel like I can't tell my wife certain things because she's going to look at me a different way. And then that opens up doors to them being able to have discussions with women outside. And the women outside be ready because they hungry. They don't care that the man is married. They don't care that they know the wife. They feel like it's an open opportunity, and so they creep in unaware, like a thief in the night. But that's because
now they Jesus. Now they come
right.
like a thief in the night.
Come on, because that's how some of these women are. They crafty. They've been doing it for years. So a lot of women in church got track records. And sometimes, you know, we've got to be careful that as the wife, you know, we've got to avail ourselves. We got to open ourselves up, and we've got to allow our spouses to be transparent with us.
All right, so what you saying is, and I'm asking because women cannot, and I'm saying this because I feel like certain women or women in general cannot handle a man's truth. Yeah, Mika, that was for spouses, Mika. Unlike my sister Charmaine, I'm talking about spouses, period.
Excuse me, I'm talking about spouses. Don't even go there, because I'm talking about in general.
And Tanisha, I'm pretty sure I'm saying her name wrong, or Tanisha. That's Tanisha, dope. Right. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. So what I'm saying is, so if your husband sees a pretty girl, but he's holding hands with you, and he's like, yo, she's pretty, would you feel away?
No. In the past, I would have.
But if he does it now, and it's not nothing extra, he's not sitting there. I'm just saying, he's just like, oh, yo, she's pretty. What you think?
No, I don't have a problem with that because now we have matured to be able to have those conversations. But every relationship, there's maturity that happens. Wait, hold on. Kia said, Fantahari, because the way these females,
I'm trying to ignore the Kia's comments.
And hey sis, and I do not drag them. Listen, this is real things that happen.
Oh my God.
And it's nothing wrong with being honest. These things happen. And when I'm saying male, you men, I'm just saying that these are real things, Dre, that happen, that we've experienced. That the girl will look you dead in your face and be like, hey, boo, hey, sis, hey. And then
all right, so whoa. So wait a minute. Wait one doggone minute. Because don't act like these niggas don't be sitting here talking about, yeah, bro, what's good, bro? And hold on, putting heart eyes under your wife's emojis, putting heart eyes in inboxing, and let's not act like it don't go both. Anytime I bring up a man, your face.
No, because changes. You're trying to make it seem like I'm just saying that women don't do these things. They absolutely do.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to even play.
No, this is because it goes both ways. There are some women. There are some women that entertain this. Absolutely. But it happens. Kia, this is why you gotta love you and know your worth and who you are. You are absolutely right. We as women gotta know our worth, and then we gotta stop.
Thank you.
We gotta know our worth. And you're absolutely right, Kia. We gotta know our worth. But as a woman, women have to not be okay with being the side chick. They've got to not be okay with being in somebody else's spouse's inbox, and vice versa.
Oh, okay. Because I was waiting for the vice versa.
And vice versa, because it happens on both ends. We as a collective got to understand that we've got to die daily, right? Because we've got to not succumb to the temptation. Temptation is very real. It's very real. And there is a fine line. There is a fine line. And because a lot of times, as much as, men don't like to think, women know women. We know what's up. We know what's up. But women, we've got to understand that even though we know what's up, that doesn't always mean that we've got to be ready to go off. Some things, most things, we as women got to take it to God in prayer. And I don't want to leave that out, because we're not on here just talking natural. We're bringing natural and spiritual, right? Because God is the answer. And we've got to, yes, it's okay to check, the other person. It's okay to want to check the woman or check the male. But at the end of the day, we've got to learn how to have communication with our spouses. We've got to be mature. Romar says both parties have to be mature and secure in each other and with each other. If you are secure in these things, situation will not threaten or weaken the marriage.
I agree 100%.
I agree. And that comes through time, right? Because we can't get into relationships and automatically expect that the male is going to know. Shamel says, I think we've lost the focus. Sometimes people make poor choices. It's best not to make a finalizing when you're in covenant. I think that we gotta mature, right? Because the person that you were when you first got married, over time, you go through things, right? And we have to mature through them. I often tell people who come to me sometimes and they say, oh, how do I go through? I'm going through certain issues with my spouse or the person that I'm dating with, and I feel like they just don't hear me or they don't understand. There are certain things that while you're waiting, while your spouse is maturing through, that you've got to be that praying wife or that praying girlfriend. Would you agree, bro?
100%.
Vice versa, as the male. There are certain situations that us as females, we got to mature through. And it will take you as a male to love us through our stages of immaturity. That's how we get to the place where we can fully be open to have honest, open dialogues with our significant other.
I agree 100, and I agree with that 150%. If you put the work in, if you and I think everything, and this is what I'm saying, everything is about open communication. You have to be honest. You have to be open. And the thing is, when the person is, and this is what I had to learn, when the person is being open and honest, you just gotta, all right. Sometimes, because the thing is, you don't always see what you're doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you feel like you could be doing all the right things, but nah, that person is unhappy because you're lacking in this area or you're lacking in that area. You have to be able to take constructive criticism. Look, I'm not happy with this. And sometimes we get too offended too quick. Like, when you're listening, don't listen with your emotions. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and this is what I also had to learn, don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you just want to, oh, you said that? Let me hit you with this point. That's not listening, and that's not going to be effective communication. So,
right. Shamel says, I agree with you, Maine. You've got to be there with them until they mature. Someone had to be there with you while you became. Nobody is perfect. When you point the finger and never look in the mirror, you'll always be frustrated with your relationship. And I absolutely agree. Yes.
Stop looking for the perfect mate. They're not gonna dot every I and cross every T. Like, you just, like, sometimes we just have this list, and it's just like, nah, because like it is spiritually. God loves us to the point until He sees, oh, all right, you're where I want you to be. You know what I'm saying? You have to. This generation is so quick to cancel.
Because
I hate I hate
because
that.
we have a lot of preachers and people talking about haters and
Yeah,
cutting people off.
yeah.
And so we're beginning to have a lost generation because people are so quick, like you said, to throw people away. No, don't listen. Some things are you gotta fight for.
And
Some things you just gotta go through. And that doesn't make you stupid. That doesn't make you dumb. If you've experienced and you've been in a relationship and your partner cheated on you and you decided to stay, that does not make you stupid. Don't allow people to make you feel like you're being dumb or you're being stupid because you made the choice and the decision to rock out with your partner. Be wise. Yes. Go to counseling. Do whatever is needed to get through those tough times. But you don't got to throw it all away. You've got to be right, Robert. Communication without full understanding is dangerous. We've got to be able to communicate to understand.
and
if
stop
we're not
having these
communicating,
conversations with yourself in your head. Like stop talking to yourself about, and then you sit there and be like, when did I say that? No, I was just thinking about it. I was talking to myself about it. Yeah, you was talking to yourself about it. That's why you done made up this whole scenario. That's not even true. You done painted me and put a picture in your head that's not even true. Whatever issues you're having, iron it out. Go to the person. Stop talking to yourself. That was it. I'm sorry.
Stop talking to yourself, and we got to stop talking to people that are not mature enough to push us to with purpose and not mature enough to push us in the direction of reconciliation, because people will be quick to say, oh, just cut them off, just leave them alone. Girl, what I would do, boy, man, listen, I would just throw the whole marriage away or the relationship. No, everything can be worked on with God. So thank you, bro, on tonight for this conversation.
Let me put my shades back.
I can't with you. Thank you for your transparency on tonight. Thank you for being open and honest. We will be back because we want to tackle. It is possible to have healthy relationship, male and female relationships, without it crossing the line.
I gotta have you on my show now because you brought me to the sisterhood. I gotta bring you where the men are at now.
There were men on here.
You dragged me to the dungeon.
Get out of here. Never. Anyway.
I love you, sis.
I love you more. Bro, leave some last words for the Sisterhood page.
Yo, just love. We're in a very dangerous time, so just hold each other down and yeah. Power to the people.
Power to the people, really?
Power to the people.
You mad? You salty? It's all right. I love you, bro. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for joining the Sanctity of Sisterhood on tonight. I am my sister's keeper. Shamel, right? He's still alive. He made it. Listen, this is what it's all about. If we can't have healthy conversation, we are missing the mark. We're missing it. We can pray, we can fast, we can preach, we can dance, and we can shout all we want to do. But if we're not having conversation, we are missing the mark, because conversation helps us become better people. It helps us understand. If all we doing is this in church and all we doing is praying and fasting, no, some things we got to talk through. We've got to be able to communicate. Ladies, don't be afraid to communicate with your significant other, whether married or in a relationship or you have a fiance. Be open and honest. That's what it's all about. We will be back with part 2 on tonight. Thank you for joining. Please share this out. We want to get the word out that it is possible to have male and female relationships. It is possible for us to be friends and not cross the lines. It is very well possible that every male and female is not sleeping with each other. It is possible and it can be done. Ladies and gentlemen, we are breaking barriers. We are having the hard conversations that we feel like we cannot have. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in to Sanctity of Sisterhood. I am my sister's keeper. Next week, I have another amazing show. We are going to have my dad, my spiritual father, none other than the Bishop Eric R. Figueroa Sr. with us on next week, talking about the Adams perspective. You want to know more? Meet us next Monday night at 9 p.m. I promise you, it's going to be amazing. Share this video out. Sanctity of Sisterhood. I am my sister's keeper. What about you? See you next week, 9 p.m. same time. Don't forget to like our official page, and don't forget to purchase some merchandise on our website, lwccenter.org. See you next week. Love you. God bless you.